First of all, thank you so much, everyone, to be a part of today's Alumni Connect. Despite of the rain gods making it a difficult day, I really appreciate all of you to be here. A big shout out to all the people who made it possible, the attendees, and a great applause for the alumni panelists. Please, everyone, who made it possible and are here on a Sunday. I know Sundays are like family days. I mean, it was difficult for me to get up at 9 a.m., but here we go. First of all, let's introduce Sahil. Sahil is was the PR and media head from our previous Pradesh board. He's here to show us something on generative AI, and it has also a demo. So I would like to call Sahil on the stage and start with its demo.
Hello everyone, thanks for coming in this really bad weather. So I will be talking about generative AI, but first a little bit about me. So originally, I'm from Punjab. I was born and brought up there. But for my undergrad, I was lucky enough to get admission in IIT BHU Varanasi. And there are also like many IIT alumni that are here, and we organize events like this. So this is an event that's coming up on February. So if anyone wants to sign up, just reach out to me. After 1.5 years, I got scholarship, which covered my tuition fees and living expenses. So I decided to move to Tokyo Institute of Technology, which was the second best university in Japan. And then for my master's, I was here at Santa Clara University. I worked with SU Admission to make the campus tour video in Hindi. हेलो एवरीवन, नमस्ते, सत श्री अकाल, वालेकुम अस्सलाम। मेरा नाम साहिल है, मैं पंजाब इंडिया से हूँ। मैं सेंटा क्लारा यूनिवर्सिटी में कंप्यूटर साइंस स्टूडेंट हूँ और आज मैं आप सब लोगों को हमारे सुंदर सा कैंपस दिखाऊंगा। लेट्स गो। Yeah, you guys can watch the full video on YouTube. So, thank you. Thank you. So basically they had like all the campus tour video was in English, and I was like, be more inclusive. So yeah, that they made one in Hindi and made one in Chinese. So there are many interesting startups that are coming up on generative AI. And one of the startups which said that they will hire me, but they rejected me, was Conway AI. And I'll just like to show what kind of work that they are doing in generative AI.
We partnered with a framework and avatar tool maker called Conv AI, and together we developed this demo you're about to see. Okay, run it, please. Everything is real time.
Hey, Jen, how are you?
Unfortunately, not so good.
How come?
I'm worried about the crime around here. It's gotten bad lately. My ramen shop got caught in the crossfire.
Can I help?
If you want to do something about this, I have heard rumors that the powerful crime lord Kuman Aoki is causing all sorts of chaos in the city. He may be the root of this violence.
I'll talk to him. Where can I find him?
I have heard he hangs out in the underground fight clubs on the city's east side. Try there.
Okay, I'll go.
Be careful, Kai.
None of that conversation was scripted. We gave this AI character a backstory. His story about his ramen shop and the story of this game. And all you have to do is go up and talk to this character. And because this character has been infused with artificial intelligence and large language models, it can interact with you, understand your meaning, and interact with you in a really reasonable way. All of the facial animation completely done by the AI. We have made it possible for all kinds of characters to be generated. They're all domain, they have their own domain knowledge. You can customize it, so everybody's game's different. And look how wonderfully beautiful they are and natural they are. This is the future of video games. Not only will AI contribute to the rendering and the synthesis of the environment, AI will also animate the characters. AI will be a very big part of the future of video games.
Yeah, so that was the application of generative AI in gaming. Right now, a lot of work is being done to have generative AI being used in the gaming. So you might expect GTA 7 or GTA 6? Yeah, GTA 7 will probably use generative AI as well. So yeah, let's go back to generative AI and what exactly is generative AI?
What is generative AI? Well, it refers to the algorithms and models that generate new data examples based on existing patterns and relationships. It uses deep learning to understand the underlying structure of the data and then create new examples that are similar to the existing ones. So if you give it some text, then it can predict what comes next through inference. Now, the potential business applications of generative AI are really vast and varied. You can use it from product design to marketing to customer service. But generative AI also raises a number of risks and implications, including privacy and algorithm bias and intellectual property and copyright. Now, businesses really need to be aware of these risks and then develop strategies to mitigate them if they end up using generative AI.
In simple terms, generative AI is AI that's used to generate anything. It can be text, image, video, music. For the images, a lot of work has been done. So this is one of the videos that I found on YouTube. It is by an artist named Karen Cheng. And so here, the technique that is used to generate images is called stable diffusion. Here she used stable diffusion to make this video possible.
Hello?
AI-generated art is getting better and better. I sometimes wonder if artists notice things about the brush strokes, the color choices, or just the overall composition that makes these artworks not quite as amazing as I feel like they are. It doesn't seem fair that an artist will spend hours and hours making something beautiful, but here I go with no skill at all, and I type a painting of a sunset in Venice and get this in under a minute. I can even go crazy and imagine entire worlds like an alternate dimension where everything is made out of pizza. I mean, these are so good. How about you? Do you think...
So that was generative AI being used on images. Now we will move on to the text, and I will be focusing solely on the chat GPT. Next, you will see a video
GPT-4
about GPT-4, which is currently the most advanced text. Like, no matter what anything Google or anyone says, currently GPT-4 is the most advanced text generation model.
is the latest AI system from OpenAI, the lab that created DALL-E and ChatGPT. GPT-4 is a breakthrough in problem-solving capabilities. For example, you can ask it how you would clean the inside of a tank filled with piranhas, and it'll give you something useful. It can also read, analyze, or generate up to 25,000 words of text. It can write code in all major programming languages. And it understands images as input and can reason with them in sophisticated ways. Most importantly, after we created GPT-4, we spent months making it safer and more aligned with how you want to use it. The methods we've developed to continuously improve GPT-4 will help us as we work towards AI systems that will empower us all.
So there's another
So maybe some people don't really understand what OpenAI is saying. So here we will have our most popular Tanmay Bhatt, not to be confused with the president, explaining one of the features of GPT-4, ChatGPT plugins. And he's talking about how GPT-4 might make him unemployed.
plugin, by the way, called HeyGen. So HeyGen is a automated video making tool. Yeah, it's those talking head videos. Like Synthesia. Yeah, like Synthesia. So plugins, and we go to HeyGen. Actually, we'll use Wolfram and we'll use HeyGen. So we use Wolfram. What is the per capita income of Britain? Make a video on this with HeyGen. Let's play the video.
The per capita income of Britain, also known as the United Kingdom, is approximately $45,380 per year per person, according to a 2021 estimate. This ranks the United Kingdom 26th in the world.
Wow, she's really happy about that. Dude, I have to say, the output quality on the face and the lip movement is pretty good.
In 6 months, it's going to be somewhere else. Like, you won't be able to tell. And it's just going to be more convenient to have like an AI creator create rather than you creating yourself.
Great news. As a creator myself, I'm very excited about these times.
Yeah, but not all the use cases are for productive cases. There's a section of people which are focused on getting the GPT to draw a circle. But this person didn't give up. Next, he went to the Google's bar to get Google's bar to generate a circle. Yeah, that's all from me. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Sahil, for that wonderful presentation. As generative AI is making its news all over the internet, that was a pretty much informative session. Just a couple of days ago, I was reading an article. Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, just released that in their upcoming event, September 2024, where they release their new iPhones and MacBooks, they are actually going to implement generative AI, and we, the consumers, are going to be able to use those features. So, yeah. Thank you, Sahil, again. Now let's get to the main event, the main reason we are here. That's the Alumni Connect event. And what's better than introducing the stars of the show, the alumni? So, starting with Surendra Kumar, young tech people around here. Let's give a warm welcome to Surendra Kumar, class of 2011, graduated with a master's in computer science. He is now rocking the world of cybersecurity. He is one of the legends from the previous Swadesh board, and he's a living testament to the cool side of computer security. Let's give a round of applause for Surendra. The next we have is Mona Lisa Shadi. A gratitude of the class of 2014 with a master's in information science. Mona Lisa is currently orchestrating business operations and program management at ServiceNow. That's not just her limited day job. She's also donning a hat in career coach, guiding others towards success in their professional journeys. And that's the reason she's here. Thank you so much to be here. The next we have is Apeksha Agnihotri, graduated in 2019 with a master's in computer science. She goes beyond being a data and ML engineer at AWS. She's truly a data head. Get ready to be captivated by Apeksha's data-driven expertise. Thank you so much. Next, introducing the incredible Thomas Francis. Graduated in the class of 2020. He made a bold shift from electrical engineering to computer science and is now making waves as a software engineer too at Microsoft. Not just limited to coding, Thomas is also a micro VC investing in the future of tech innovation. Let's hear it for this versatile and forward-thinking alum. The last we have is Jaskaran Singh Kohli. He was a star of the Swadesh Cricket League last year. Graduated in 2020 with a master's in business analytics. He has swiftly climbed the professional ladder to become a senior consultant at Corner Group. He's here to share insights from the intersection of analytics and consultancy, marking his mark in the business world. So I would like you to again give a round of applause for this esteemed panel who took out their precious time to be here and give us some of their insights. Thank you so much. Before starting the actual question answer round, I would just like to give you a rundown of the show. To start with, we do have some generic questions we collected in and around talking to people, and we do also have some profile-related questions to each one of you. Once that's done, we would have a Q&A round between the audience and the panelists. All of those who are joining us from the Zoom session, please type in your questions on the chat box and we will be happy to ask to the panel. After that, we will have a small snacks break. I know everybody's really hungry. I'm waiting for the food to come in. After that, we would have a meet and greet session where actually you guys can meet the alumni panel in person, talk to them again, ask your personal queries, and I guess that would be all. So to begin with, so Surinder, to start with you.
Yeah, so before that, I would like to say thank you to Swadesh board. I have seen different boards across the years, but this board is something special. So trust me, organizing an event, it's not an easy thing. And these people are doing with the passion. That's commendable. So I really want to thank you for inviting all of us. And you guys are doing great job. So you guys are taking this to the next level. I'm not just saying to make you guys feel happy, but that's the truth. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Surendra. We really appreciate your effort and your appreciation. It kind of, boosts up in this weather, but yeah. So yeah, let's begin with you, Surendra. So given your extensive experience in threat research and network security, how have you seen the industry evolve over the past 12 years, particularly with the advent of technologies like AI and machine learning?
So as you have seen the demo from the Sahil, right? So this new AI and generative AI and all this machine learning, that's big involvement in that, especially in the cybersecurity space. So if you see right now, if you want to create any malware or like any kind of attack tool, it's not really hard. Anyone with like very limited resources sitting on their computer, they can create a malware and maybe they can attack the system. So this has been a big involvement in the cybersecurity industry. Same time, it's very difficult, especially for the blue team who are defending. It's always challenging, especially the SOC team. They have to have 24/7 available. And other thing is now these attackers, they are sitting all in different parts of the world. So now it's more challenging, to secure the any environment in especially in the big industry. So I would say coming with all these tools and all, it's quite challenging. So you have to have ahead of these attacker, and maybe you have to use all kind of generative AI itself to to deter their attacks. So yeah, so that's what I would say.
Sundar, as you say that it's become very difficult for the security analyst to be up to their toes and always be on their toes to find out possible vulnerabilities. So if I may say, ethical hacking is always have two sides. Still, I feel like I don't see a lot of positions opening for ethical hacking. With all this new tech coming in, do you think that in the future, maybe we have a proper ethical hacker position available? Because, in order to tackle something, you need someone who could actually do it in your company, so that it becomes a little more helpful.
I can take on that as well, because I work at ServiceNow. I've seen we do have an internal team of ethical hackers who are looking at what are the gaps and vulnerabilities within, and they are always trying to get ahead of the curve. So it's better to get hacked internally, find the gaps, improve your technology, and we are also selling products now in the security space, so that's even more helpful, and I'm sure other companies like yours would be in the same space.
Yeah, that's one of the evolving area, very hot area in the market itself, the security. I mean, whether you're a small company or a big company, you always need to secure your network, because any small hack, that can disrupt the reputation of your company. So I personally believe this area is going to be very hot area in especially upcoming year, especially with I just explained, anyone can create any malware and attack. So anyone who is aspirant in this domain will have a very bright future. Yeah.
That's a positive note. So all you hackers up there, stop stealing coupons just for food and start studying. You have a job coming up ahead. So let's go.
Yeah. So that goes for both actually. So it's a bright future for the red team and the blue team. So yeah. And these I heard there is a purple team also coming. That's sort of trying to close the gap between the blue team and red team. So I think cybersecurity domain itself is going to be very evolving field in future. Considering the generative AI, that poses a lot of threat. So we definitely need a very strong blue team in upcoming future.
I'll add it to you. One of the other things which I've seen lately, as a lot of these consumer applications are going online, and again, based on AI, every other application, so-called, they're helping the consumers, right? So security is a kind of a part and parcel of a software engineer too. So recently, I can share you my one of example which my team has gone through. One of the feature we rolled it out, and we were not expecting that our service will be exploited by few bunch of people, and we were kind of relied on, hey, what is the frontline security we have, and yeah, that's good for us. But apparently we saw there were a few things which kind of got abused, and we got the DDoS, and again, Surendra can explain you more to our service. So again, every engineer, when you go in your respective place where you want to work, there's a sense of little bit about what the security side you want to capture and fill the gaps in. But again, relying more on the experts. But that will play in your role as well once you go in your wherever you're going to work.
I need to add to one more thing, that it's not just the cybersecurity things. With AI booming along, the two fields, that is responsible AI and ethical AI, that is also being considered. It's not just like whatever we are working on, we need ethical hackers to see that if that is secured or not, but we should be, as an industry, we should be responsible enough what data that we are sharing with people and customers, even businesses. So that is also another area which now also government also taking into consideration. So that's also going to boom a lot of jobs opportunities going forward.
Awesome. That was some great insights. Moving on to the next question, and I would just like to ask this question to Mona Lisa. I was going through your LinkedIn, and I see you are a strong advocate for women in STEM. What changes have you seen in the industry over the years? And what do you think still needs to be done? I still feel there would be some kind of the gap. And what advice would you give to the young women aspiring to enter the tech industry?
Sure. So there have been a lot of changes over the years, but the fact that we are still calling out women in STEM and women in tech means there's still a lot more that needs to be done. Over the years, we've seen a lot of new role models which have emerged, but still, if you look at a leadership point of view, there are not too many women in leadership level positions, especially with the pandemic. A lot of women had to take a step back and take care of their families and stop working, so which is not fair. Companies are now starting to organize programs on returnships to kind of bring women back to work, people who've taken sabbaticals or long pauses to kind of take care of their families. So that's a really good change. But then what needs to be done is for all of us to start raising our voices, be more aware as well, because the fact still remains that men and women are not getting paid at par. So women only apply for jobs when they are 120% qualified. Men, on the other hand, and I'm sure this panel would agree with me as well, they are definitely champions, but they start applying for jobs even when they are 50 or 40% ready for it. But we kind of end up underestimating ourselves, which even I have done back when I was looking for a role, right? Over the years, I've learned and grown and kind of have learned to push for myself. And if you can't push for yourself, if you won't be a self-advocate and champion, how do you expect anybody else out there to believe in you? So it's the onus is on all of us and all of our male allies as well, that when you are in rooms with other women and if they are not raising their voices or not speaking for themselves, try to get them an opportunity to speak and share their opinion, right? They're oftentimes most women, I would say, are not as extroverted, outgoing, don't end up speaking their mind. So ask them to share their opinions when you are in conference rooms or in colleges as well here. Like I've had a lot of male teachers at Santa Clara, unfortunately, who tried to hush me down. And even in classes, when I asked for answers to some questions, they were like, you should have known about it instead of trying to answer it for me and guide me. So try to raise up your voice. I did that back here in Santa Clara as well, and I urge all of you to kind of do the same.
Monisha, to be very honest, I really can relate to one of your point that if you don't make a voice for yourself, you get unnoticed. No matter how much you work, how well you code, how well you present yourself, until unless you stand up to your, the yearly appraisal meeting, like I did this, I own this, this is what I did. It's really difficult to get noticed. I've had some experience in this tech industry, and I can totally relate to it. Just adding on to that, Apiksha, how important has mentorship been in your career? Can you share an example of how a mentor, or maybe you were a mentor to someone, helped them to navigate professional challenges?
So mentorship, it's not just with one person. I am a great believer in building relationship with whoever I work with, be it my team members, be it my manager, be it my seniors, or like being if you're working in a customer end, and building relationship with them is always helpful. Having a mentor in one of them is always better. Like in my career, like I've worked in 3 companies, and I have great relation with my manager even now after leaving the company. Not just in the professional navigation, but in the personal life also, like how to deal with difficult people, and how to, like, if you are confused about, at certain point of time, if you're confused about what direction that you have to go to, then it's easy to talk to your manager about it, ask help for navigating your career. So it's all about relationship and being transparent with the people that you are working with. And in case if you find mentors in one of them, then it's better. Otherwise, it's fine that if you don't have a mentor and just a great relationship.
Thank you for the insights, Apiksha. My next question is for Thomas, and this is my question. I mean, I'm not really, I really wanted to ask you this. You started your career up here as an intern at Tesla and Amazon, and then a full-time at Amazon, and then after 2 years, now you're currently working with Microsoft. Like, that's the life of a software developer. Like, while I was on a flight, the 20-hour flight, I was just jotting down on the, the aeroplane's paper napkin. Okay, first I will kill this, then kill this, kill all the fang, go back India, tell all my relatives, who am I?
Don't kill yourself.
So I just wanted to let you know wanted to ask you, how was experience working through all these big tier companies, and any advice? Like, I would love a one-to-one session with you and get all your insights and maybe some referrals.
Absolutely, I think that's a great question. So I'll split this question into
the first question.
like 2 different things, right? How is the experience to work with this all big companies, right? It's a big label companies, what you call Amazon, Tesla, Microsoft. One thing I would say, first make a good motive why you want to work with this company, and then you can figure out a plan and then hit the road. First thing, which for me, I'll take back myself when I came as an immigrant here. And in 2018, I came here. I was fellow like you. And there was a lot of thing. I came here with on the table. I took a lot of loan. I came one-way ticket here. And when I came, I saw, hey, there's a lot of things available here. But I had to keep up to it to get it. So first thing which I made clear, hey, for going on the route, I want to see if there is already people ahead on me who is already in Amazon or any of the big companies. That's what led me to actively network a lot. So when I came, usually what do you do first, right? You hang out with the other people who came with. I did too. But that's what I saw, to have that manifestation of where you want to go. I started to connect with people who are well ahead. You have meetups, right? You have meetups, coffee catch-ups. That's where I found my own mentor. Again, talking on the top of what Apeksha told, having a mentor helped me immensely to cover up the areas where you're pretty much blind. You don't know exactly how to go there, but uh, you have a good ambition. I want to work with this all big tech companies, but that my mentor, my friend, helped me that time. Hey, this is all you want to do. This is how the resume gonna fit in. What all things you wanna do? How many applications and whatnot. But what I did, I pretty much uh, did a lot of things what others were saying and little more. But again, I dwell into a lot about what it takes. I can talk a lot again on the floor, but how was the experience altogether working in this all big companies? It's not so different, I would say. It's not so different, but it's challenging when it, I'll be very open. It's very challenging in a way that if you say any other companies who are a 2-tier, 3-tier companies, you might have a lot of hierarchy where your manager, senior lead, and whatnot. So till the time the work comes to you, it's all bottled down. It's very scoped in. So it's very easier to deliver that. But if you jump on any of this any of this label company, you pretty much have to go into his shoes and find what it creates an impact for your team, for your org, and start adding to it. Start contributing at the level where you are. Build your expertise in one level, and increase your scope. So people know, hey, there's a Thomas, there's a Sahil who knows some area, he has a good expertise, and then people will come to you with like, hey, he can solve that. And your manager will trust you, your peers will trust you. Hey, if you have a problem in this area, go to Thomas. If you have a problem in this area, he might help you. That's where you build your presence in your team. And over the time, it's easier for you to have a transparency across your org. But again, for me, it's been 4 years so far. I'm still learning, and there's a lot of thing which there's a lot of experts on a panel too. But overall, take the ownership, find what matters for your learning, and take the ownership of making it grow for you. And just be a lamplighter and grow in other areas we want. Yeah.
That's a great analogy, and I really like the "I'm still learning" part. I mean, I guess all of us, all our life, I have to follow that. We still need to learn to be in this market. Just to add on that, Thomas, and this question to everyone on the panel, in this current market, where recession is hit or is about to hit us, or like we are like in the midst of a recession, what do you think, how opportunities, like the number of opportunities and the nature of opportunities for young students have changed? I feel like while I've been applying for a lot of companies, I feel like now companies are hiring for more specific roles instead of, just seeing what a new person or a new hire can do, rather than just seeing, oh, okay, he knows this XYZ technology, we need a person on this technology, let's just hire him. For example, if I'm seasoned in Java, maybe a company in .NET would also hire me because it's relatively the same concepts. But what I've seen around or what I've read on internet, like companies are now more, role specific. It's like, what's the thought on this, or like, is it really true, or is it just some companies,
I would see this in a different way. Like, what company needs, I don't want to look at it. I'll look at what I can bring to the table. As a student, I would highly encourage everybody to explore whatever they can think about. Say, if they're thinking about, like they're hearing about cloud, and if they're not aware of it, start building a project and know what actually cloud is, and are you interested in or not. Say Gen AI. If you are listening about Gen AI, talk to people, build a small project, and see if you're liking it or not. If you're liking it, grow on it, and then look for specific positions on that category that you are interested in, and then at that time, like, when you have that confidence, like, I am interested in that, I can make an impact on that, it's very easy for you to find jobs and talk to the interviewer, prepare for the interviews, and in fact do the any sort of negotiations, because you know what you are bringing to the table. And I think that's most important thing.
And to kind of add to that, there are definitely fewer roles now, and as you said, targeted roles, but that's where you can, take this as your moment to shine, do good research, look at what are some of the skill sets that you bring to the table, as Apeksha said, but also do a good research on the companies. Because now that, after all, most of these layoffs, I hope, are kind of behind us. Now it's time for companies to actually start delivering. We've seen some really great earnings and results last week. So companies have now, it's the right time for them to start hiring to build upon their portfolio and their pool of talents. And so do your research, find out what are some of the new roles which are coming. Do those skills align to what you bring to the table? If not, where can you upskill yourself and kind of position yourself? There are so many of you in the room, but if there are five open positions, not all the 30 of you will get it. So how do you, even it's a matter of like competition, how do you put yourself above everybody else? So, all of you people, you're here, you're kind of part of the Swadesh board, put this as part of, extracurricular activities that you've done, because people are looking at you. Even in school, there are hundreds of people. They're all doing the same coursework. What sets you apart? Some of the leadership things you've done, or, some side projects, volunteer activities, all of this helps get your resume on the top. So make sure you mark all of these things out. And one thing which never gets old is networking and referrals. Don't apply for a role just because it's there. Try to find somebody in those companies who can refer you. Telling this from my personal experience, when I was looking for roles and applying on my own, I never got called, versus for the same position, the minute I asked somebody to refer me, all of them kind of converted into at least a first call. And then it's on you to kind of take it forward.
Additionally to it, one way of seeing this would be, why would you limit yourself to one specific technology? When I came from India, I worked for close to 5 years, and I worked into Java as a distributed backend profile. But when I came here, I saw, all the internship which I did, there was work thrown on me that, hey, we want this project to be delivered. They never asked me, hey, do you know .NET, do you know C# or TypeScript or anything like that? So when you are with the mindset that, hey, I have a growth mindset, if anything which comes, I'll say I'll transparent, that I'll be very transparent that, hey, I'll take some time, but I'll get this work done. That mindset, I think that helped me personally. When I came with a backend profile, I worked in Tesla, in C#, in Amazon, which is like a Java-focused backend, and AWS cloud and whatnot. Now in Microsoft, when I joined in, I completely lead a team here which is a UI focus. It's like totally React and generative AI and whatnot. The moment it's more kind of, you are language agnostic. You can pick up any language based on the need. And of course, that will take some time. But just market yourself like, hey, you're an engineer, just not a Java engineer or C# engineer. And you can pick the things. I think based on that, just be smart enough to see what all things will be asked in an interview. And I think you should present yourself rather than limiting, hey, I should be into cloud engineer, or I should be something. Just an engineer, just go get your foot into the market. And of course, you can navigate where you really like.
I just want to add more to, you asked about like specific roles. So these days, if you look at, like job description, they will ask you for everything. You should know this, you should know this, like all 10 skills. They wanna have you to like know everything. But my advice is like, don't get discouraged by that. Sometimes, you know, like you will see for the different role, you will see the same job description. So sometimes it's a lazy work by, you know, like HR, they just post it. So don't get discouraged by that. So even if it matches your tree of skill, just apply it. Because these days I especially see, you know, like a lot of, before that, you know, we always see like network engineer. Now we have like Kubernetes engineer, cloud network engineer, these all these things. So don't get discouraged by that. So base is pretty much same. It's just like want to add on, you know, like sharpen your skill a little bit more. So just apply.
Perfect. I can actually talk on this because I have a personal experience since I graduated into 2020. And while I was graduating, we were in the midst of COVID. We couldn't get out of our homes, and at the same time, the same exact things were happening, which are happening right now. People were getting laid off all left, right, and center, and there were probably no jobs. I remember getting like no LinkedIn posts, and I used to tell my family that I don't even see enough posts to apply for jobs. And that was a scenario at some point of time. And like, it's a weird thing because when we come from India, we think US, like, you know, as a place which will be all hunky-dory and you'll have all the jobs and opportunities all around you. But sometimes your journey can definitely be different than the person sitting next to you. So the only thing I learned from my journey while searching for my first job was that better keep your head straight because, since I play sports, it has given me an ability to think everything is a game. And for being good at your game, you have to upskill, as she mentioned. If you are lacking something, you definitely need to have your game up and you have to compete with the other person because at the end of the day, everyone around us is competing with each other in this industry. And as far as role specific goes, for example, I work in consulting. So my bachelor's was in computer science, my master's was in business analytics, and now I work for a consulting where I build payment processes. So it's and to be honest, was that my dream job? No. But do I love being in consulting now? Definitely yes, because I'm playing multiple roles in multiple projects and learning so much that if I could have limited myself to only data analyst roles or business analyst roles, the roles which we are said that we should go to, I would not have been in this position of like smiling and just talking to you guys. But yeah, and just keep your head straight. I know it's a hard world, and just don't give up. And at the same time, just don't put everything on the recession. I know it is, but still, we need to fight.
I want to add more to that, see, we all talk about, which company you should apply for, which role you should go for. But if you look at the full life cycle of, being in studying and graduating and applying for a job, there is other aspect like psychological aspect, how we keep up to date, how we keep motivated ourselves. First of all, trust me, you all are capable. Since before 4 or 5 years, you never have thought, you're going to come here to study in US. So that itself an example, you can do it. So you should always, wake up in the morning and motivate yourself. Yes, you can do it. So you will see all kind of thoughts coming to your head, whether, I will be able to get a job. What would happen? What if I don't get a job? Someone with a similar skill has gone for the interview, he didn't get a job. I don't know all this. So first of all, stay positive, Don't let that negative energy manifest in you, because that's the very first thing you have to do. Going for interview, applying, that's the second phase. So you have to work on your first phase first. Always, go around with people who motivate you. Consider this as, as a teamwork. So let's say in companies, right? We all work as a team. So same thing goes in our groups, So stay around with the friends who motivate you. So just talk to each other, I'm applying for this job. Do you know something, a special skill I need? Or, maybe do sort of mock interviews. Just hold each other, that support each other. That's the most important thing before going to, next phase. So that's my personal experience. I hope you guys can, understand that. Yeah.
Just one last thing. I know we are talking a lot about it, but I used to motivate myself by telling myself every day that finding a job is also a full-time job. And I literally took that whole process of finding a job or finding an internship as it was my job. And that actually kept me motivated because that made me feel that I'm at least doing something. I'm not, I don't have anything, but I have something. So that's a good way to approach it.
And I'd like to add in a little bit as well, since we're all kind of going over this. But, the tech landscape is changing every day. The job you have today will not be the job you'll have in the next 2 years. So in the current market, just try to get your foot in the door. Doesn't matter what role. Like, you can always do an internal job transfer after you join. I've had a non-typical journey in tech in Silicon Valley, especially. Like, you see people here, the average life in a company is 2 to 3 years. I've been at ServiceNow for 10 years. When I joined this company, it was about $300 million annual revenue, 1,600 employees worldwide. Nobody had heard about it. People would ask me, is this like a housekeeping company? Where do you work? Because everybody around me was looking to apply to FANG, but I wanted a small company, near Santa Clara as well, because this is where I lived, and, I was in my second year here. Looking at somebody coming from India or Asian background, most tech companies think you'll either be good with numbers or good with programming. I'm not a programmer. I cannot do that to save my life. So I was like, okay, fake it till you make it, kind of. This was the thing back then. So I can fake being good with numbers, but I was studying information systems. So what do I do to kind of distinguish myself from everybody else? It's like, okay, in the business school, everyone's doing an MBA in finance. I'm doing information systems, looking for a role in finance. So let's apply for to be on the leadership board of Finance Connection Student Network. That way, you're actually talking about in interviews, hey, I'm driving, programs to help MBA finance people to get better. So my first role was doing FP&A, which I hated. Soon realized it's within a couple months already, time to look for another role, another role, another role. Over the last 10 years, I've had so many different roles. I've myself lost track of it. Do I still know what I want to do? I don't think so. But as Thomas said, the learning never stops. So you just push yourself to get better every day and craft a good story on how your background gets you to your next role and how does that differentiate you from everybody else who's applying for it. So that works.
Whoa, those were some really great insights. I guess, yeah, positive attitude, pushing yourself, maintaining a peace in your mind. I guess, yeah, those were the 3 points that, really could help all the young aspiring tech people to find a job in the market. Moving ahead, Jaskaran, you talked about finding a job or, working like a sport. You always have to work it. I mean, we really can't separate Jaskaran and sports ahead. Great, he was a great player back at Swadesh, like last year. I still remember you taking my wicket this year. Let's bring it on. just joking around. Just can you talked about your life, your world, what has been yours since reflecting on your journey from a data analyst to a senior consultant. What advice would you give to students who are aspiring to get in the same world, having same maybe somewhat similar career paths and dreams?
Sure. So, even though my role was data analyst, it was in consulting. You are actually like you can play multiple roles in multiple projects. It's not just one role. The only suggestion I would say is that when I was a data analyst, whenever I used to see the data, I only used to pinpoint. I never used to see a broader perspective of things. I only used to build those graphs and I only present it to the clients, and then I used to realize that what is it I can do to step up, level up my game. And that's when one of my mentors, he's my uncle as well, and he made me that you have to understand the business use case before entering the realm and actually building those graphs. And that learning made me grow, and I still follow it every now and then. And nowadays, like as I'm a senior consultant, I play like PM role in one project, data engineer in another project, data scientist in another project, because like there is in consulting, we are doing that. Also, the second thing is, which I've learned when I was in consulting, it is this very consulting specific. Consulting projects are very cost effective. You have to make your project as profitable as possible, and the only way you can do it is by pulling a junior resource. So as soon as you learn things, you have to start mentoring your juniors, interns as well. And that's what I started doing from my day 3, probably I say. Because I was handed over an intern right after I joined in. And like I was supposed to teach her and like show her how to do code, how to do this, what am I trying to do, how am I seeing things, because that's the most important thing, because vision is something that you actually sell in consulting, either to your juniors, either to your seniors, and either to your clients. So that's one thing I would say. And the second thing is, the third thing is that probably you should evolve, learn every day. Like for example, I am a senior consultant right now, but my journey has just started. I'm like 2.5 years into my career, and I'm still trying to grow. And I go to these hackathons. I was last weekend in a hackathon. I went to Google for one of the other events. I like regularly force myself to go out of my comfort zone and learn something which might feel at that point of time, and I would not relate to it, but at the same time, which will I feel that it will help me think in a very broader perspective, in terms of, it will help me reach the realms which I cannot think of right now. And that's how I perceive things, and that's how I actually got promoted. And if you have any more questions on like how specifically I got it, I can share my HR feedback with you later.
Hope you are not making interns to do your personal work, right?
Jaskran is going in career coaching here. You're going in career coaching here.
Yeah. So, let's move on to some more of the generic questions we have here. Like the current situation, it seems pretty bad. Like, how do you guys recommend us to approach this? Like, how aggressive should we be in our job search? Like, developing yourself in terms of skills is something everybody has to do all their life. But applying for the job, being there, applying for the right time, the power of referrals, or maybe what's the advantage of being referred or just applying directly if you have a good profile, a generic picture, like how should we really tackle this market, so that no matter what, we end up a job, so that we could actually stay here. And then maybe down the line, as Mona Lisa told, that maybe you won't be working the same job 2 years down the line, but as immigrants, we have to have a visa status up here. So how do you guys recommend us to approach this problem? How aggressively?
I can talk about a little bit about referrals, So it's always good to, have someone, working at that company and use that referral. But let's take an example, like a big company like Microsoft, Amazon. So you're referring one candidate, and, like in your company itself, there might be like 10 other people referring other candidates. So what to do in that situation? So the way it works, like if you have like really good connection with the referral, just reach out to him and ask him if he can reach out to the respective manager or HR. Otherwise, like there won't be no difference, like between regular applying and 10 other referrals. So if you have really good connection, just talk to your referral and ask, like, hey, maybe you can just send a message, like maybe hiring manager or maybe HR or, like who are, like the recruiter. So that will create more impact. And second question I hear, like just talking around the people. So for example, you find someone, you're applying for a position in XYZ company, and you find someone, like who is working in that company. That is your alumni, but you really don't know that person. How do you like do that, So usually you just like send a message on the LinkedIn, So the situation comes, like for example, that person doesn't reply you back within 2-3 days. And what do you do in that case, right? whether you apply directly or you still wait for. So the advice I would give you, like in that scenario, so you just message your referral, hey, like I'm from this university and like, this course I'm doing, and if you can refer me. So just set a time window. So for example, let's say wait for, like a time window of 2 or 3 days. If that referral reach out back to you within 3 days, then it's good. Because if it's a good person or, like maybe he's really willing to help, he will reach back to you within 2 3 days. So if it doesn't reach back to you in 2 3 days, then don't just wait, because every job has a window. Because after that certain number of days, they will stop accepting the application. So just set a window of like 2 days. Okay, if that person reach out to me back to me within 2 days, I will use that referral. If not, just apply directly, because if you don't apply, then you're not going anywhere. And also, if you see, like you have multiple people, that in your LinkedIn contact, they reach out to everyone. There is no harm, like just sticking to one person. Use all your tools. So yeah, so that's what my advice would be, in case of referrals.
And to kind of add to that, when should your networking start? From my personal experience, I would say it starts the first day you land here. Don't wait until you are ready to apply for an internship or a full-time job to start networking. Don't dig whatever they say, don't start extinguishing fire once it's there. Keep a fire extinguisher with you at all times, ready for an emergency. So start networking day one, build those relationships, those connections, because a person who knows you well is more likely to kind of vouch for you, put in a word for you, versus somebody you've just reached out to on LinkedIn, because they don't know you, they don't know your life story, they don't know your background. Why are you the best person versus two other referrals from the same university who are kind of reaching out to that person, right? So start your networking journey early. And when you reach out to people on LinkedIn, I did that, like when you're looking for create a hot list of companies you would likely want a job at. Start looking at people on LinkedIn. I reached out to people saying, hey, I'm a baby Bronco, put those keywords, I don't know, Google, SEO, whatever, whichever company you want. You start reaching out to 10 people. When you start looking at roles, don't just, as Surinder said, focus on one person, but kind of try to broaden your horizon in that company. Oftentimes they say this unit or that unit. So maybe ask people, hey, do you happen to know anybody on that group you can introduce me to? And start your conversation then. Somebody on the same team, if they refer a candidate, that is more likely going to get a hit versus someone in an altogether different unit of that company. So try to use your referrals to also get in ways or inroads in specific teams that matter to you.
Also, like as a student, I particularly face this issue that what does networking mean? How as a student should I start networking? Because we are surrounded with students like us, and they all are looking for jobs. So the biggest benefit is that we are in Silicon Valley. We have awesome professors. They are currently working. They have their own startups and they have their own research groups. So I would start like taking awesome courses, being really engaged in those courses, build relationship with the professors. There are a lot of meetups happening every weekend, like every weekday as well. So there is an application known as Meetup, Eventbrite. Check those meetups there. Try to go there, and don't approach anybody just for referrals. In LinkedIn, like search for the companies that you really want to work at. Go to people sections, see, view their profile, see what they're working on, and if they are curious about their work, just set up a coffee chat. I've done a lot of coffee chats over LinkedIn, like just talked about what the other person is working on, so that even I keep myself updated with what's going on with industry. Because at students, we have like a lot of horizons to look at, but to identify that what you like, what you not like, you really need to talk to people and meetups and setting up calls, 15 minutes. It's okay if they don't show up for 15 minutes. That's fine. Just keep at it and build those relationships.
Awesome. Just adding to it, I think they both covered really nicely, all three of them, sorry. But saying what Surendra said, if your referral is not putting your resume on a table of your hiring manager, that would not work. As simple as that. That didn't work for me. I have applied so many referrals. None of the referral worked for me. Of course, that will work for someone else. But till the time, if that person is in a good connection with you and he can get you to the recruiter or hiring manager, I think that makes more sense rather than waiting. Just apply. I usually recommend, my wife is applying for the positions right now. I recommend her the same. Go apply and then ask for a referral too at the same time. It may happen that you may get another application with some other email ID that will work for you. It's okay. Another thing for the networking, from the day one, you need to prepare your mind to start this art of connecting with people. You reach out to the people on a LinkedIn, right? How many times you have reached out saying that, hey, could you refer me for this position? If people reach out to me with that same message, you will be ignored. I'm so sorry. And I did the same mistake when I was a student too. Seek how you can add a value to the person. Seek if you can get something out of the person. If you're reaching out to the person, say you're reaching out to a software engineer in VMware, could you ask, hey, what it takes to get an intern in your company or in your team? How was the other interns in the past in your team has performed? So that brings up that conversation to some kind of level where you have a point to talk to. And that creates a rapport, that creates a sense of connection. And I'm sure like the person who is connecting, then he might go in depth and look your resume too. And he might as well later you get a referral. But in that context, you will get a referral or you will get some value add in return. That's what I did. When I was applying very actively during my times, I think after the application of my internship, I never applied for a full time. I was all the contacts which I have created from the day one through networking that helped me to get multiple internships after my first internship too. One of the internship for Tesla, I didn't apply till I was ready with my written offer. I gone through the interview, I got the offer. The HR said to me, you have to apply to get an offer. So you should be an assistant. So how did that happen? I created that conversation, say in December 2018, and that helped me in 2019 December when I reached out to her again. Hey, how is it going? How's the holidays going? So you need to create that art of connecting people. One other thing I would like to add to the host, when you say like, yeah, the market is not good, but I think market is not good for sure. But if you go with that mindset of, hey, market is not good, I have to wait, that's okay to have that mindset because you won't burn yourself. But as a person, you need to create a sense of urgency for yourself. Hey, it is not good, but what else I can do? Because you have a time, you're going to spend the time. Might as well spend the time in creating your own pathway, connecting people, seeing what all companies are hiring, and then double downing your networking strategy and whatnot, just to add on top of that.
So do you have something?
Just one last thing I want to add to you. So maybe that helped me in the past, So when you're like going through this job search, so maybe create a very nice Google sheet or, like maybe Excel sheet where you list down all the companies and maybe all the job position and, just make another column like, someone there just to keep a track, so that it's just like one time, and that list may help you in future also, because maybe down on the line, 2 years later on, you might be looking for the similar role. So then you don't have to go through the hassle of finding all the contacts and all. So that also help you, and you can also like maybe mark down, like I got the response from this company within this number of days, this was the recruiter, so that later on 2 years you can maybe reach out to that person again if he's working with the same company. So
Got it. Noted. All the points are noted. See you market tomorrow. So yeah, uh, another aspect that, or the set of questions I have is like a lot of students from India do have some experiences. Like I myself have a 2-year experience. Some of my friends have 4 years, some have 5 years, and some of my really good friends also are like direct freshers, directly graduated back in 2022 or 2023. They flew right after the graduation, and now they're searching for a job. Like while conversing to a lot of them, they are like, "अरे तुम लोग को तो job है, तुम लोग तो experience वाले हो, तुम लोग के लिए easy होगा." Just for them, like, is there a difference, or I mean, how is the process for them? Like, I believe that no, it's the same. You have to prove your resume speaks a lot other than your experiences. Yeah, there would be some advantage because you do have some industry experience, but how does it play out in the real market? It's an open question.
I can take that. So I came from a background where I worked in industry for a few years, say like few good years. But for me, that was another challenge. When I came with that kind of experience, I was working as senior software engineer back in India, and then when I saw all my colleagues here, all my batchmates, few of them came straight from college, and I had to initially a few days for me. It took some time to humble myself. Hey, we are on the same line. We start again. If I want to go for an internship, I need to learn from them. Just a contrary to what you're saying, but at the same time, having an experience, it helps you that you know the industry a little bit. Where you have been in industry, you delivered something, you know how it works. So that removes that cap off that, hey, I have not worked in industry. But saying it doesn't help too much. It's like, yeah, you know. At the same time, you can find avenues what will help you to go further. And for a new grad who just came straight from like your undergrad and you came here, I think you are at a great place. First thing for me, I'm sharing a lot of my personal experiences. It took me 2 years of going through a lot of preparation to come to US. And I was doing it with my full-time back in India. So for you, you came through a lot, right? You came through a lot. You came to during this challenging time. You made a lot of critical decision, and you came so far. So you are at the best place. You are at a good university. This is one of the few universities which are very reputed in industry as well. If you go in Bay Area, if somebody says you are from Santa Clara, people kind of know you. So that I can say. Based on that, don't restrict yourself that, hey, I don't have an experience, but see what you can learn to find, hey, what it takes to get through an internship or get to a full-time. And one thing, I would retouch on this. Find somebody who has already gone through the path. Like find somebody who has already, like in your seniors, in your alumni, who has done some good internship, who might have done RA positions. Reach out to them and seek their experience, what they did. I did for myself because there was a fruit on their tree. I really wanted what they had, and that helped me to navigate that direction. And everybody want to work hard, that's for sure. But a lot of the time, the direction is what sometimes is missing. That helps a lot when you connect to the people who already did that in past.
So answer to your question, like if someone has worked in India maybe 4 or 5 years, does he has like advantage or something similar? Yeah, definitely. I mean, if someone has, work is work, whether you're working in India or whether you're working in US, right? Like for us, like we have a very big team in India. So they contribute almost same thing what we work on. So like I said, I mean, it's definitely an advantage, or like maybe upper hand, because you get an exposure, right? As compared to like especially who just out of college. But again, to those like who just graduated, that shouldn't be demotivating factor. I mean, it's something you are like getting exposure to something that is quite new for you. So that should be motivating factor, like that should be giving you more push. Hey, that has someone applying for the same job has 2 years of experience. How can I do better? Like maybe I can learn, put something new on the plate, so that person use that as a motivation factor, like when applying for a job. So yeah.
Thank you.
One more thing that I want to say, that even I did work in India. I had good work experience. I started as a software engineer, and then I moved to big data, and now I'm working as a data scientist. But my experience in India actually helped me to narrow down my search for a job. So, I mean, when we are here all together, you all are, whether you have experience or not, you are all applying for internships. You are on the same page. You're looked at the same level. But what helps you is like the experience that you build up. It helps you like what you actually want. That is the only difference. But the hard work that you have to do, and the preparations, they all are the same. So how you can match your how you can match to that person who already has an experience by exploring a lot. I've been telling this a lot, that as a student we have a lot of time, and we have a lot of resources in SU to explore different projects and different subjects and different fields. So that when you're sitting in front of an interviewer, you know what you want, but you know what you like. And then even when you're reaching out to anybody in LinkedIn, you're not like sitting blank that, okay, I want this job, and just let me know what I can do. Rather, you can contribute to the person that you are talking to. Like Thomas said, that you should also be you should not just go with the mindset that you're asking for a referral. You should know what you are doing for that person as well when you're asking for a referral. So that's how you can match up the experience, just by exploring and building projects.
And I had a couple of years work experience in India, but since I was doing a job transition per se, but none of that experience kind of got counted when I started applying for roles, that I ended up starting entry level. But then once I was in the role, my work experience helped me distinguish myself from others who were same level as me, and I ended up getting more responsibility projects and like faster growths when I was in. So if you end up being in similar situation and have to kind of start from scratch, don't consider that as a failure, but look at it as a way to bounce back faster.
And it's a simple math if you think about it. I mean, people who have like 4 years of experience are 4 years older than you. So at the same time, you think that you have 4 more years to get exposure within US, and that is a plus. And that's how I saw it, because I had no experience. The job I'm working for is the company I'm working for was my first job and is my first job. And while I was graduating, yeah, definitely in Santa Clara, since the average age was 28, I was a 24-year-old boy who had no experience sitting around with people who have like plenty of experience. So I definitely had this conundrum going on inside my head that, oh my God, okay, am I even eligible to do things? And am I even smart enough to do things? But to be honest, like being around people who were experienced than me actually pushed me a lot to do better. So it actually made me, work even more harder. And now I definitely see the results of that. And I genuinely don't think, like, definitely, like 2-3 years do matter. 2-3 years don't matter, but definitely, like, people who have a lot of experience does matter. Like, I had people who had like 12 years of experience, 13 years of experience, and they had like no issues in getting jobs and internships for the roles I am applying for. So I personally feel like right now as well, someone actually told me about this whale analogy. Like, in an ocean, there are 2 major species. One is whale, one is shark. So, who do you most associate it with is the question they asked me. I said I associate myself as a shark, because a shark is a mammal which basically goes and grabs every opportunity it can to eat anything it wants. With whale, it just has to open his mouth and get it for free. And at the same time, the whale also dies if it doesn't get food, but the shark will actually go and hunt and get the food for itself. So I would say recommend you to be a shark rather than be a whale. That's how you should approach in life.
Absolutely.
Get the job.
I think what Jaskran said, it's all about the mindset, right? It's about the mindset, what you come in here, because it's a level playing field. I come here with some years of experience. He came here with no experience, but they have their own baggages, right? So where you go from there, you just get rid of your baggages, see what the opportunity is for everyone. Just might as well grab it with your both of hand. I'll give you a quick example for somebody who came as a new grad. So I saw in my workplace there was a guy who came as an intern. He came as an intern, returning intern, and then he came and he was really excited about learning a lot of things. Hey, I got into Microsoft. I got into products which are really making impact with thousands of people. What he did, he really went out and whatever the contribution he can make, he did. His presence was kind of, everybody knew, hey, there was a guy who's an intern, came as a new grad. And over these years, he scaled career very fast, similar to Jaskaran, right? So he became software engineering 2, he became senior, he became principal. Now it's his 5 years anniversary at a company, and he's a principal software engineering manager. He has 6 reportees. I am one of them. He's my manager. So he's way younger than me, but it depends upon your mindset. There were a lot of people around his rank where he is now. They've been in industry from 18 years, 16 years, but he didn't keep that as a cap on himself. So again, it depends on the mindset. Go out and there's a lot of help, resources. One of the good thing about Santa Clara is the alumni is so good. The circle is so good. People are welcoming when it comes to help. Reach out, take help, and just grow from there.
Yeah, those are some really great points. I understand like everything has a pro and a con. You just have to go through it, be positive, work hard, be a shark, and just kill it. Before we move on to the last question, as all of us know that we are in the heart of the tech world. We are at Silicon Valley. A lot of people coming from India, maybe while they are up here, would come up with, working at startups, or maybe also opening up a startup, or finding some like-minded people and, getting us into a startup or stuff. What are your thoughts on it? Like working at startups and also, maybe finding a way, pursuing a way to, initiate a tech startup and make a way in the Silicon Valley.
Little confused by the question. Do you want us to comment on how to build a startup?
No, maybe like you guys would have definitely met people who would be working in startups. Yeah. What would be the experience working at a startup, or maybe,
Yeah, for me, I know I'm not not somebody who wants to work in a startup for sure, nor work in a very large company. I want to work in a mid-size-ish company, and especially for those of us on a visa, while you are going through the visa process, you are highly likely to get a visa sponsorship if you are not in a startup, and the whole process of a green card as well. It can get a little dicey with a startup, especially if they are not well funded or if they run out of their funds. So from a safety net side, it's better to initially not kind of consider a startup which is not well funded, especially folks who are in the seed to Series A range. Avoid that. But until then, so I eventually want to start something of my own for sure, but I want to also make sure I will not be taken for a ride. So what I've done so far in my career is try to hit different areas of a company. So over the last 10 years in service now, and before that at IBM, all my roles have been in different functions, so I get a decent understanding of how different units of a company work. So eventually, whenever I'm ready to start something of my own, I don't have to start from scratch and depend on people across different backgrounds. I at least have a decent area of understanding overall, and I can loop people in. And in terms of the topic, which or the field that I would like to personally address, would be around social entrepreneurship side of things, because there are lot of people who are still wanting to figure out how things work. It's not always about making money, which if your product is good, if your company is good, you end up making money, but that is not what I want to focus on. I want to get in the social entrepreneurship side of things.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit. So when I came, I with few of my friends, same, had an idea, built something for a school back in India, and then other school wanted the same product. Then we licensed the product, and then when I was coming here, I knew that I can't manage. I sold off that whole thing to one of the company called Accenture back in India. So for somebody, because we are so much connected with the technology that we feel, hey, if I sit around the night, I can build something by morning, and that that I call as like a hobby project. But again, you need to distinguish yourself. I'm not putting anybody down. I'm just sharing experience. Um, Understand why you really want to pursue that path, or whatever you have in mind. Why you want to pursue, because that why, the depth of the why, will take you far ahead in that journey. And of course, as Mona Lisa said, you have a visa restriction and everything, but if you, again, there's avenues to pursue that, but you need to find why you really want to. And I have seen a lot of friends who are really passionate about that. They spent here like 3-4 years and went back to India, and then they pursue the startup path. But that kind of decisions you have to make if you really are passionate about that and you stand to the decision. Apart from this, pretty much find, again, there's a lot of ways you can go ahead in the startup world, but one key thumb of rule which I have seen, you might create a V0 product, but from that V0 product to something which that will create an ongoing revenue for you, that needs a level of funding. That's a challenge. That's a challenge for a lot of people, and they stuck there. So you need to find your way. At the same time, you need to find a mentorship. I think there's a lot of coordinators here at the university, and the Y Coordinator, which is famous here. Find the mentorship if somebody has done at certain level where you want to go, and then find another mentor or something who can help you, rather than you figuring out a lot of things by yourself.
And one more thing, like I have been reading about new bills, regulations that's being passed, that now on F1, you can work on startups. I'm not sure that if that is passed or not, but that's been proposed. But just having an idea and working on it, it doesn't, like it takes a lot of time, like Thomas said, that to convert it into a profitable business. So like for now, I would just suggest that focus on, just keep it as your side project, keep working on it if you really believe on it, but focus on getting your visa and immigration sorted first. And like once you think that your product is mature enough, then you can take it to market. There are people that I know that who have raised fundings from here. There are many startup communities in SF. So they have raised a couple of fundings from there. And some people, they've moved back to India to pursue their startup journey. But like, again, that Thomas said, that it's a decision to make. But first, make sure that you have whatever idea that you're pursuing, it's a profitable business before leaving everything and just doing it.
I think your question was also like, you want to work for a startup or not? Something. Okay. So like everyone else said, first of all, the very most important thing, you need to have visibility and clarity of thoughts. What exactly you want to do in your life. How much hungry you are. So I have worked couple of startup company. So my first company, we were only like 6 folks, you know. I worked there for a very small time, and after that I joined another startup. So the thing is that like you wanna ask yourself how much hungry you are. So the work culture and work environment is quite different if you work for a very small startup company and a big company like AWS, Microsoft, Google, and all. So I still remember like in my first startup, so I have to set up everything from the scratch. Even like my own desktop, I went there. They just gave me like the hard box. I installed operating system. I did all the wiring, and I installed all the software and all. If you go to big company, you will find everything in like ready. You just have to just log in. You know, you have to just give your credential. So, yeah. So yeah, so again, like you learn a lot. You learn a lot working in a startup environment. That's something you start learning, and that takes you way beyond like what you can imagine. So like everyone else said, so there could be some challenging with the startup company, like considering like we have visa restriction and all. So if you're very hungry and your startup is willing to, like do your H1B and all, and you feel like you want to challenge yourself, yeah, why not? Like just go for it. And I think if second aspect, like if you have any startup idea or for me, like don't think too much. If you have just any idea, just start working on it. At the end, just believe it or not, you're not losing anything. So because more you challenge yourself, best thing will come out of you. So don't think too much, what will happen 2 years later on, whether my startup will be successful, will it be funded? No, I don't believe in those thoughts. If you have some idea, just start working on it. So look at all these big companies. So like, like most of the companies, they started from the garage. They never thought, like we not gonna that big. So all this just started, they made as a hobby. So if you really like it, it's your hobby, just do it. So yeah, so manifestation will happen, like if you believe in nature, in like all these cycles, so things will happen. So people will come, like come towards you, they will help you. So everything will be taken care. So all you have to just believe in the idea, just work towards it. Rest everything is secondary. Trust me. Yeah, so I mean, do it with the passion and as a hobby. So yeah.
Perfect. As everyone mentioned, it's all about the hunger and the work you want to do. So right now, yes, everyone understands that we have visa restrictions and we genuinely can't do a lot about, just starting something for your own. But I would say that as everyone commented on approaching the slow times in the industry, like work on something else, work on, building your network rather than applying for jobs if the jobs are not available. Then at the same time, how I am approaching this is that I go to multiple events and hackathons. And for example, last weekend, I was in a MindsDB hackathon, which is a startup based in San Francisco. And their product was so bad that the CEO of that company literally started, like, he sat next to me, and him and me were debugging his own tool. And that was an amazing exposure for me, because he literally made calls to like 3 different CEOs on FaceTime in front of me, and like made me talk to them, explaining them the issue. And it was a whole exposure in itself. And I feel that that's the best part about being in Silicon Valley, that you actually can see things building from the scratch. You can see how others are doing, what struggles they went through. I mean, what were the good parts, what were the bad parts, and how. And for example, as Thomas mentioned, that the product you vision that it would, like the V1, V0 of that product will definitely be very different from V11. For example, the product, the same product I'm talking about, MindsDB, what they do is they connect to multiple different data sources, ERP, CRM systems, pull them into their system, and use an OpenAI engine to generate chat prompts. That was their use case. And I asked a lot of questions. I literally asked the CEO, like, who is buying this? Who are your customers? And his answer was not as I thought it would be. He said that right now this tool is just getting used for data enrichment. I'm like, wait, the goal and like the thing you are trying to sell is something very different than what you are getting in return. And I think that's the truth about this industry. The product evolve according to the needs of the customers or the need of the market at times. So I got all this exposure from going to these events because I cannot start something of my own. And also for to be honest, personal recommendation, hackathon is a very nice place to get make yourself more visible. You may not build a product every time, but you'll at least meet people who are, for example, the judges there are generally the CEOs or senior software engineers or someone who have already made it mark. Someone like all four. I'm still far behind, but so you can definitely show them your product, show them your work. If they like, if they don't like, it can be your chance. And I saw a couple of people, students from Berkeley, and they just went ahead. They came alone from Berkeley and just went ahead on the stage and presented their project. And I personally thought that was really gutsy. I could not do that when I was a student at here. That even clicked my mind of going to a hackathon, just presenting my project. And I went ahead and spoke to him. He was a 22-year guy, and he said, like, I just want to make myself more visible. And this one sentence made a lot of sense to me. So don't limit yourself to like, I know these 4 letters, VISA, is a big sort of burden over our head, but I don't think we should all limit ourselves to it. We should find workarounds around it and get the best out of everything. I mean, that's how I approach life. So it's working for me till now. I'm smiling. So let's see.
So I guess we skipped one question, one really important question. I just got a bit on that. Grace Hopper celebration. Like, what initiatives and what changes does these programs bring into the tech industry?
So one big reason why I got involved was it was mainly focused around women in technology. So for those of you who don't know, Grace Hopper is world's largest gathering of women in technology. We have our annual conference around Q3 time frame. Last year it was held in Orlando. It was a hybrid setup. We had about 15,000 women in person and around the same number who joined virtually from around the world. About 95% of members are women or those who identify themselves as women. So, and the biggest factor is it's a very big networking event as well. I lead the Silicon Valley chapter for that community. I have been doing that for the last 2 years. And the goal is to open the doors for more women in tech, bring them exposure through tech companies. For Silicon Valley chapter, I've kept most of our events free, and I want companies to sponsor them. I'm actually in the talks with the Levy School of Business and Dean Ed and Shauna from the Career Center to have an event in May timeframe at the Levy School. But, we are having events all over in the Silicon Valley. We've had one at JPMC a few weeks ago, and we are talking to Google to host another one as well. At the conference, for those who are interested, I would highly recommend you to go. If I knew about this when I was graduating, I know my base salary would have been at least $30,000 more. And to the point that Surinder made about camaraderie and connection and helping each other, that's one place where I've actually seen it happen. Unfortunately, I did not see that happen in Santa Clara because everyone was competing with each other. But at Grace Hopper, a lot of companies come there to even meet their hiring targets. We're talking about underrepresentation of women in technology. Companies who are bigger, the FANGs of the world, they have so many thousands of employees. So the level at which they need to hire more women is that much more increased as well. So Google is looking to hire at least 1,000 people at that conference, for example. And what I've seen is people go there and come out with multiple offers because you're kind of going to the same set of companies and you end up talking to each other. The lines for meeting the recruiters and hiring managers, because on-the-spot offers are made at times, are so huge that you end up chatting with people around you. You share what's working, what's not. Hey, what questions are Google asking? What's Meta asking? And let's divide and conquer. And once you have one offer, I've seen people take that offer to another company and be like, hey, I have a 120 grand offer from company X. How much more are you going to give me? And then especially in the current situation with return to work and job locations and stuff, you can use that as an advantage point that, hey, I have an offer from company X, for example, to join in Seattle, but I really want to be in Silicon Valley. So are you willing to negotiate with me on that front? So I've seen that work as well. But highly encourage everyone. I'm looking to kind of actually expand my leadership team here for Silicon Valley. So if anyone's interested, please reach out.
Yeah, I concur with Manalisa a lot because I got like 3 internship offer directly in Grace Offer conference only. So it's like it's a great networking opportunities. Just go talk to people, and there are so many things at a new student I wasn't aware of it, like about the industry, about how industry works in USA. There are differences in India and in USA. So talking to people that gave me that exposure about how to tackle job markets in here, and you can get an interview right over their schedule. So that's a great opportunity. So if you ever get that chance, even virtually, if you get chance to attend, do attend it.
Thank you so much on that insight. I hope a lot of women do attend it and are able to bag offers from it. That's a wrap on the generic questions round and profile-based rounds. I would like to open the mic to all the audience over here. If they have some questions they would like to ask the panelists. Also, there's a meet and greet round after the small snacks break. If you guys feel shy or like you have some personal questions, you can also ask then. But yeah, if you do have some questions, some really intriguing questions, go ahead.
Hi. Most of you have mentioned that you have transitioned from one career path to another, which you didn't have so much of experience before. Like you didn't even expect you to be in that role in near future. So, how was your approach in that application process, and how are you preparing yourself for that transition?
So I did a really big transition. So I was doing program management at IBM in India, and then, as I alluded to before a little bit, so when I came here, started in general looking at career opportunities and started talking to people, I soon realized that especially when they start seeing you as somebody who's Asian, they expect you to be either good with numbers or good with programming. Since I cannot do programming to save my life, I was like, I can, and I'm not too bad with numbers, I guessed. So then how do I distinguish myself apart from others, who are actually good with numbers and who are studying finance? So what I did was try to understand as much as I can and try to be a little ahead of the curve. For me, that was then, since I was doing MSIS in the business school, and we had a finance connection student body. For my first year, I joined as the vice president of that community. The second year, I took on the leadership role of a president for that community. So when I'm talking in interviews and I'm like, there are people applying who are doing MBA in finance who are applying for the same roles, I can actually talk about, hey, I'm doing all of these X, Y, and Z programs. And then especially as the president, some of the new initiatives which I brought together were like speed networking sessions, which I hosted with people who are in the industry who can kind of help open the doors for you. And then someone said about, I think it was Thomas, about staying close with your professors. My first internship I got was via a professor in the business school. I graduated from Santa Clara 10 years ago. I would say 80% of the professors are still in touch with me. I chose to not be in touch with some of them because of whatever reasons. But stay close to your professors. You'd never know what opportunities open up. But yeah, don't be afraid of career transition. Find a role that kind of interests you, and see how you can upskill yourself and distinguish yourself for that role. But if you have any specific thing in mind, I can work you through it.
I mean, we don't have experience for that roles, but we have experience in some other roles. So how can we expect the recruiters to consider us, because there are so many people who are far more experienced for that role. So how can we equip ourselves for better consideration?
So if you don't have experience in that specific role, then it comes to, sharing a good story. What have you done in the past that kind of makes you a better fit for the specific role you're applying to? It's always about the story. And that's not just when you are applying to the company for the very first time, but eventually as well, as you graduate, or as you start looking for other opportunities. Every time it's about why are you, even when you're looking for a promotion within the same company, why you versus somebody else who's your peer, right? What's your value add, and what have some of the projects or like side projects, if you've done any, how are they contributing to what the company for sure is looking for?
I think just touching on that, the story part is so important, because what you sell for your profile or what your resume is, that's what it matters. I have seen personally for myself, I was going crazy altogether in all different roles. Say somebody is into DevOps, somebody is into data science. Back in 2018, ML data science was, it was hot in market. If there were few internships, they were for this roles. And I was like, I don't know much about it, but I'm not going to lose there. If they hire me, I'll figure out a way to contribute. So I made up my story. Hey, if there was a recruiter call, I would go, hey, if there's something I really don't know, I would rather go, I have learned this technology maybe theoretically or as in subject, but didn't got a practical exposure. So, and that's something you can learn, like spend some time before an interview. So it's all about story, and just find what all things it takes to come to a level of an interview. And after interview, it's all on you, right? It's the same for other person too. But I hope that was your question, to get into interview with others who have a more expert in that area. Yeah. So I'll double down what Melissa said. Having a good story will get you an interview for sure. It's like when a recruiter, this is one of the things which my mentor told me a long back ago. Every recruiter, how much time do you think they usually get to review your application? Say any good company.
Probably a few minutes.
Few minutes? And that's long. Few seconds. Yeah.
Okay.
Say 6 seconds. 6 to 10 seconds. If she has printed out, like say 50 applications, 50 resumes, and she might want to go, she has a job description here and your resumes, tons of resumes. If she goes through this, then she finds in your resume this this thing, what you have done, and this matches with your role, you might get a call. And that's similar with the LinkedIn too. So it's about how you tell your story. I might have not worked in quantum mechanics yet, but if that comes to, if somebody is hiring quantum mechanics and there's no jobs at all, I might go for that job as well, if that day comes. I would rather say that, hey, I'd find up some courses I'm actively pursuing, and I really want to see if I fit in this role. Something on that note. But just don't discount yourself that they have a more edge over me, but somehow you losing your profile in that whole selection. I hope I just added a little bit more.
Yeah, that's helpful.
And the last thing, I just want to add that Thomas was totally correct. It's always who you want to be than who you are. And your resume should also tell the same thing. That's what I recently learned from someone, that your resume should also, like, it's definitely we all, add some skills which we do not have, but we aspire them. And like, there are two ways to do that. The one's to get an opportunity, but second, like, you actually have to be that person as well. So you think of it, your resume, as someone you want to be in the future. And also, there's one more learning which I learned about resume was that you have to show that what you can do for that person, just not like blabber out the details which about the projects you have worked on. There, find out an art, or find an art to make, like, the end statement after reading your resume should be that, okay, yeah, this person might have worked on a different thing, but she has paved a long way and made a path, and now she is in IT. And that's how your story should be, and that's what should be, her, the last thing I don't know how to articulate it, but basically that takeaway, yeah, that should be her takeaway from your resume.
And doubling down on the resume, another thing I would add is try to make it strategic as much as you can. Follow the STAR method. A lot of times people don't. So situation, task, action, result, for every bullet on your resume, make sure it follows that method, and and make it succinct on what are some of the key takeaways and value add. You could be doing programming for X, Y, and Z, but then how does your program actually help with the big picture of the organization goal? Make sure that's visible and evident, because that ways you kind of put yourself as, hey, you're not just an engineer or a programmer, but you also understand the big picture and the why and the outcomes that the leadership is focused on.
Do you have any more questions?
My name is Tanay. I am currently a graduate student under the Computer Science and Engineering Department. So I specifically had a question to Mona Lisa, but of course each one of you can share your thoughts over it. So currently I feel that as a person, I am also interested in the business side of things. And not being from the MIS department, I feel like there is slightly lacking between the business side of things and the computer science side of things. My only reason to choose computer science was because I did my undergrad in CS. So considering that, what would be your opinion? Like when I look forward to my career prospects, I see myself being both in the business and the technology side of things. So I am targeting towards roles such as product management or something related to that field. So how should be my approach to get into the industry in that perspective?
First and foremost, I would say have two versions of your resume at least. Like one could be a software engineer, because those are obviously easier roles to fill in, and there are plenty of those all the time. And once you are in, you can always switch a job at a later point. And for the other part as well, like have another version of your resume on either product management, program management, and so definitely apply for those opportunities as well. And having a STEM major is always great. It puts you on an advantage, because as a product manager, you're working very closely with your design and dev teams. So being able to understand technology and talk the language, working in the weeds with the engineers, puts you at a different advantage. And so the only thing you might have to work on a little bit is via your storytelling. Be more clear about how can you be a strategic thinker as well, and like you're not just worried about the feature functionality, but the use cases, ROIs, which your customers would care about. How is your product helping them solve big problems, and why would somebody, because there are so many competitive products in the market as well, why would the company you're applying for or the product, if they have specified it in the application, why is that better than something else in the market? And I'm sure Jess on the consulting side is doing a lot of that, talking to customers all the time. So be open to because even in the product management side, there are inbound product manager roles versus outbound. Outbound are more customer centric versus inbound. You are actually, working with the developers a lot. So then do you have a preference among both of these, right? Maybe an easier way would be the inbound ones, where since you have the programming language, but then just focus a little bit more on your storytelling and maybe some of the additional work you've done in classes or around the strategic thinking part and outcomes.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
To add to what Mona Lisa said, I think whatever she said is correct. If I would be you, so maybe I would start, as a computer engineer itself, just start working in a company. And maybe within the company, I would, make connections. And, I will reach out to, who are the person, who was hiring manager, whatever the team I want to fit in. So I would start from that. And same time, maybe some of the skills that I needed for certain roles, I would sharpen that skill. So, yeah. That would be the, my go-to thing.
Great. We have one more question.
Hi, I'm Vibha. I'm a CSE grad student. So my question's around networking. So you said that when you are networking or sending a LinkedIn request, you also have to see for a long-term connection with that person, see how you can add a value to their life in any way. So how can I do that? Because if I have to give you a context, I am stranger to you, and yeah, we are both strangers, and I'm thinking I only know your LinkedIn bio, where you're working, and apart from that, I really don't know how really I can add a value to you, as opposed to maybe at the end of the day, I want just a referral from you, right? So in this case, how can I really add a value to you? Yeah, that's my question.
So I would say, what has worked for me is day one, when you reach out to a person, you obviously cannot add value at that point because you're both strangers to each other. But so for the first time when you're reaching out to someone, make it a little personal to begin with. Otherwise, half of the time, one thing I've written on my LinkedIn is I literally have right now, if you look at my LinkedIn, at least 100 unaccepted invites. And one thing I've added as part of my summary is don't reach out to me if we've not met or if I don't know you. But having said that, I do still accept invites from, I would say, everybody from Santa Clara, just because, but otherwise, tell a why. Have you attended a session I've spoken at, right? Or have you maybe read something about ServiceNow? That's where I work. So have you read something about ServiceNow that really sparked your interest? Make it a little personal in the first one, and to your first reach out, don't make it specific job related. That hey, when I say make it personal to the company, don't make it personal that hey, I found a role on ServiceNow, can you refer me to that? But make it in a way that hey, maybe your earnings were fantastic. I heard your CEO speak somewhere and he was amazing, or your recent product release was extremely amazing, or I just try to add a little bit of a personal touch and kind of keep that relationship going. In general, whenever you reach out to anybody on LinkedIn, your first reach out should not be I found a role, will you refer? You're not going to get a response.
Well, for me, I feel like it's everyone's experience. So for me, I've seen people who reaching out to me directly and saying hey, without adding any detail, maybe just name. I'm a student at Santa Clara University. I found a role. I don't mind. I literally don't mind. I don't do that. No, seriously. For me, I don't really because for me, if the way I see, someone need help, and I can help in some context or some way, I just jump on it. So for me, I don't see, like if he's adding value or, like his way of approach is not good. No, I'm very open. If someone just, like message me or anything, I'm just up for it. So it's everyone's personal.
Only
So.
2% of the people in the world are like him. 98% won't respond. So please don't just send a blank LinkedIn. Or even when you start reaching out, right? Oftentimes I get invites from people saying, would you refer me to a role in service now? Don't just keep it at that once you've even established the relationship. Tell the specific role you are interested in. Send your resume. Do some work from your side. Don't expect the other person to do everything for you. There are like thousands of roles which open in all the companies all the time. So it's not on the people. You need help. So go the extra mile on, hey, I found this XYZ role. Don't just say, I know this is internship time. There are so many internships which are opening. Please refer me anywhere. I'm open to any role. Yeah, that's the reality of the situation. Yeah, I'm definitely, whatever role will pay me, I'll take that. But there are thousands of roles. Which one do you really like? Like, do you want me to refer you to, I don't know, social media manager role? No. So do your work.
Yeah, I mean, definitely they have to tell the role, otherwise you won't be able to refer. Yeah. So just adding to that, whatever she said, that's absolutely correct. The way I see, like for example, there are certain people who don't know that skill, or like who are just fresher. Like when I personally came, nobody told me, like you have to reach out to someone like that. So yeah, if you can do that, that's fine. If you don't know how to do it, then still just reach out to person. So that only thing matters. If that person is nice or whatever, like maybe it will happen. So yeah.
There is
Don't
another way.
just limit yourself.
There is another way that I would approach this. Like instead of I'm pretty much engaged in whatever people post. If I'm interested in certain post, I will definitely reply to it. That way, that person is also aware that I'm actively reading about that person. That also gives me some contents to talk to that person about, right? So mostly like, and not just in LinkedIn, right? There are so many influencers available today. They are posting so many great contents on Instagram. So I have like a lot of connections to Instagram also. How that I am engaged in their post, I am curious about their post, and I initiate the conversation like that. So it's not only that you have to just reach out on DM. No, you can do it in various platforms, be it in any community. And then if you're meeting somebody in conference or meetups, then you can send a message that, okay, we've met in meetups. I really enjoy talking to you about this and would like to stay connect with you. Messages like that, they catch his eye, and then you can keep the conversation going that way.
And just out of genuine value, like when you start a conversation, as all the speaker said here, I think they added a lot of nuggets which you can use. What you're going through, that's a growth area. And you are someplace, I was really at a bad place. When I started, like I was with that, hey, can you give me a referral? I started from there. So there is a lot of hope. But one thing which I have seen over the time, few things I have to learn, and there were few people who were really good than me, better than me. How can you start an open-ended question, and how can engage people into your conversation rather than you are specifically binded with one topic that it's a referral? Can you start, like if somebody is working, I'll give an example. If somebody is working in Apple, and you might see from his profile he works for a Vision Pro or something like that. You can say, hey, I saw like you work in this team and the product just came on. I'm really excited about the product. Could you share just an overview? How was your experience building that product? So that puts that person on a place where he would be more engaging rather than there is an specific just intent of referral. And go with this mindset of whenever you're building this connections on LinkedIn, do many, expect few. So when you do many, few will be helpful later sometime. as Surendra said, like he been working in industry for more than a decade now. So few of the connection he might have made way before, he can use that person now. Now he might have moved, that person have moved from Nokia to Google to LinkedIn. He might use the same person later, right? So again, for me, I had to grow a lot in this area, how to do actual conversation, how to connect to people. One of the book which I have read more lately, it's called How to Start a Conversation and Make Friends by Don Gabor. If you need a resource, that's one of the book. If you just kind of skim through the first part or ask ChatGPT to summarize, that will be a few good questions to ask in a conversation, few icebreakers, and you can just try that.
Thank you. And you can expect a lot of LinkedIn connections, I guess, today.
Yeah, and also just one last thing. Always think about making long-term connection just a connection for a referral. Like that's how I see things. Like because maybe that, I mean, that sales didn't convert into an opportunity at that point, but it will definitely help you somewhere in the future. So always go for long-term relationships and like approach every LinkedIn message or send every LinkedIn message according to that you really want to know this person and you want we in our heads in the back end we know that at the end of the day we just need a referral for that job ID starting from R12345, but they have like 10,000 people like us reaching out to them. So the only way to stand out is asking them something which they don't expect, and literally probably a hi, how are you? I'm a fellow software engineer and like looking forward to get into the industry. Can also help. Like I did that during my masters as well. Earlier I used to send during my internship. I literally used to send, this is my resume, this is the job, this is the link, refer me. So
yeah, literally I
so,
I can keep talking on this subject for hours, like literally, and we can have just a LinkedIn, and because I've spoken on like a LinkedIn one-on-one sessions a lot too, but sometimes the network messaging, whatever, can lead to a job. Most of the time, it may not, but that doesn't mean your relationship with that person has to stop then and there. Like just find moments to stay in touch. If with somebody from here, like maybe send a happy Thanksgiving message eventually as well, right? Or like happy Diwali, happy New Year. It doesn't hurt to stay in touch. I do that too. I know my top 50 people, top 50 on LinkedIn, and I do this to people, and even so I've not left service now, but but I've had people, some of our CEOs who've gone on to some really big companies, and they've reached out to me for offers, and just because I kind of stayed in touch with them over the years.
And one more thing to it, and it's a numbers game. When you do networking specifically for your intent, right? Originally, your intent is to get an internship or a full time during that small window of time, right? But you are so much pressed that I need that conversation back so I can get that referral, I can get the interview, and I can go through that offer, right? So for your sanity, you need to understand it's a numbers game. So create a system for yourself. Like if you send like 10, 20 connections per day or messages per day, create a system that over this 30 days that will compound to some other number. And out of that, you will, even if you get like 10, 20 good conversations, that's a win for you. So you know what will be an output for your effort. If you know this, then you will be more in a good state of mind that, hey, this is the expectation. Something practical that would help right now. And of course, few of the conversation will reply later. And one thing I have seen, when you connect to people, you don't really know what's going on in their life. Yeah, somebody, their profile shows okay, but they might have gone through job situation or something like that. So just go with the numbers, so you will average out for few people who might help you. Yeah.
Okay. Do we have more questions up here?
thank you all for joining us today. Like, it's a really good thing after. Yeah, like, firstly, I would like to thank you all for coming and joining us even in this bad weather. And yeah, so I have like a few questions. So the first question is that currently we are actually looking for jobs, and that is one big chapter of getting a job. But after that, with the recent layoffs, the market is like really bad. So I just wanted to know your opinion on the layoffs part of the industry. And one more thing is, so I recently did my summer internship in 2023, and so my team was hybrid. Like, my manager was on the East Coast, my buddy was on the West Coast, and there was nobody to really connect with it in the office. So how do you make that bond with your manager or your colleague, and maintain that bond, and how would that help with your performance? So I just wanted to know on that. And like, is it something that would help you not get laid off, or something, anything that you guys keep on doing constantly to be at that job, so that.
So I'll start with the second one. Like, since I'm with the whole RTO situation, and I kind of changed my team about 10 months ago, and most of my team is based in San Diego now. My manager is there. My second line is in Amsterdam. So teams all over. There's barely anybody from my immediate team in Santa Clara, which is my home office. But what I'm doing is trying to still stay visible in the company through my extracurricular activities. I lead the Women in Tech events chapter for Santa Clara because I don't want to, take on too much. But on the side, I started organizing Diwali events for the company. So 10 years ago when I joined, started doing that. So just do what you can to kind of stay visible. And it's okay if you are not able to meet your immediate boss or immediate team on a regular basis. But every time you go to the office, try to meet at least one new person. Do like coffee chats, or lunch meetups with people who are in the office, maybe on your floor, maybe different floor, maybe different teams. So try to get to know people across the company. So because when most of these mass layoffs happen, and knock on the wood, at ServiceNow, we've not done any layoff. Our CEO has publicly gone and said multiple times that we are not going to do any layoff. But for those who were impacted by it, it was a pure numbers decision. So it was not based on your work or your performance, but it was more at a corporate level that mass teams were let go or big projects were shut down. But then just the fact that if you're able to keep yourself visible, network with others around, because companies did give a big runway, either a big severance package or even an opportunity to find, good, decent number of couple months at least to find something internally. If you have a network, you can reach out to people internally and make it visible that you are looking for an internal gig, and they'll start helping out. Because not all teams were doing the layoffs in the layoff situation and stuff.
Thank you so much.
I think job security is always a question, like even if you're working in like industry for like 10, 15, 20 years, you're not secure. You don't know like the day you're going to go to office, and so especially here in US. So that one thing you need to accept, okay, it can happen. And just like, at back of your mind, just prepare yourself mentally. It can happen any day. So don't get disappointed. Don't just feel like, okay, I wasn't expecting it. So it can happen to anyone. And other thing, like Mona Lisa said, sometime when it happens for higher management, upper management, it's all about numbers. So you don't know, like, who will get the jackpot. So other thing, like Mona Lisa said, I always value soft skill. So I know, like, you're really good in tech, good at programming and here and there, so many software you all know, but you really need to know your soft skill, because soft skill is something that can help you. So I always do that. Like Monica said, I always go and talk to different teams. I just go sometime, like people are sitting at lunch, I just go and join them. So that way you sort of like keep a window open. So for example, let's say uh, something happened in your business, in your team, you got affected, but there might be an opportunity, like in other team where you don't have like all the skill set, but there are certain skill set, and you can pick it up. And if you have connection, or the manager, or like at least someone in their team, that can help you fit in that role. Other thing, like, don't get discouraged by like layoffs and all. So it will always happen, and I certainly feel, I know it's not a good way to say it, but sometimes layoffs can, like bring best out of you, because once you get layoff, right? So you start looking outside, and you work on new skills, and maybe you start working really hard. So in long run, it will have like a great impact. Maybe you will end up, like landing at an opportunity you never imagined. Like maybe if layoff didn't happen, you might be ending working in the same company, or like maybe you didn't learn new skills. So all this depends on your perspective. What do you want to see? So everything, whatever happens for good. You need to believe that. Yeah.
And to say that, how do you build connections within the organization when you are remotely working? I think the best way is like to set up one-on-one calls with the people you're interested in, like not just within your team, just outside your team. I saw one manager, and like I want to know what they are doing. Just set up one-on-one with them. Sometimes do it recurring. So I do have couple of, like I am also working at AWS, and I know that there's so many teams that I'm interested in, and I want to know what they're working on. So like it's easy to find in organization. It is easy to find who the people's names. So just set up one-on-one conversation, one-on-one with them, say quarterly or like every 6 months, and then you get to know what's going on, and you keep yourself ahead of that.
I think a couple of things to it. I think what Melissa said, mass layoff you can't do, because can't do much, because that may come to you, your whole team, your whole org. You exactly don't know. So you can't control the things. So just don't think about it much. But again, as Surendra said, prepare your mind. I have been in industry here at least for say 4 years now, but I have seen layoffs a lot. So one thing which I prepared very well, that hey, if it happens, is I'm prepared. So that's one thing. One of my very early manager back in India said, interview every 6 months, so you know your value in the market. If you want to do that, start doing that practice. Another thing that will make you confident too. If something happens to you, you are a little prepared. Other thing is having a visibility across your team. You might sometimes feel that I'm really working hard, but what does other people think about you? That do they feel that you're working hard? So that's a little switch in mindset and thinking that I understood like in like late years right now. That's where you need to build that rapport with everybody, communicate what you're doing, communicate and extra communicate, so people know, hey, I don't know about that XYZ, but I know this person. He is working on this effort, that effort. He is helping the team with this thing. If you have some kind of events in office, participate. And there's an unpopular opinion based on I work remote more of the time, but find avenues where you can connect with your team if you're local. Go once in 15 days with an intention to connect to people. Go on a lunch, sit with them, share where you came from, socialize with them. That kind of helps to them to know, hey, you are working with the team rather than just an Teams picture or a Slack picture who is working in the team. Might that help?
Thank you so much for all your insights.
Great. I guess we'll take a small. Oh, we do have one more question. Oh, yeah.
So, question for you, Thomas, and maybe if others can add on to it as well. So, you shared a story about a new grad joining your team and then went on to become your manager. So, in these kind of situations, when you are more experienced than your superiors, do egos come into play? And if so, how do you take it? And also, how do you take it when you are on the other side of it? Like, when you are managing someone who has far more experience than you, and maybe you don't have any ego clashes, but the other person is having ego clashes. How do you handle that?
That's a great question. That came, yeah, I had to like prepare myself to accept that. Initially, when I came, I was with that, the magical hat, which I didn't want to lose. That I know everything. I've been in industry. I know processes. A lot of this other teammates who were fairly younger, and they've been with the company a little while, and they are at a much higher level. They didn't know what I knew, but you need to understand as you progress in your career, there will be a few people who are, what do you see that? It's an overachievers. So you have to understand this fact. You don't compare yourself with anybody in team and life and everything. So wherever you are in a context of happiness, if you are happy, then that's in satisfaction for you. Again, I'll try to address this, but for my manager, when I started to report him, and he might be now 27, 28, but he is at a principal. But when I see him working, he's really good at what he does. So I really like the system, or like who is appreciating somebody who is overworking the whole team, and they're appreciating him by whatever his contribution is, rather than years of experience that I have seen back in India. Like you spend like 10, 15 years, or 10 years, then you'll be manager, or 15 years, then you'll be some other level in senior leadership. But that's what when I have seen here, that if you perform and you go to that level, yeah, that's fine. At the same time, when I talk to him, he's a good manager. First thing first, he's a good manager. He has shown his role in, at least in the company which I work in. You need to be in that role for at least 6 to 8 months before you get that role. So he been there, he has performed. I have seen him grow in front of me. Like every 6 months or every year, he get a promotion. But that's him. He at any time in a day, he is active, and he likes that kind of work culture. And it is nothing bad about it. He contributes. So you need to understand, I'm happy with he's supporting me with my career goals. There's nothing shrug of that he's younger, older. To another context is if somebody is like way older, who is like been in company for 14 years and he's a manager, you need to understand what is that you are looking for your career growth and next 3 to 5 years, and you have a clarity. Then find a proper help from your manager. If you can get, that's a good manager. If you don't, then I would rather go and see another team or some other role. So that's usually how I approach this problem or this scenario. And at the same time, if you see CEO like Satya Nadella, he might be in his late 40s. I don't know exactly how old is he. But Satya Nadella, Sundar Pichai, they are fairly young people. And a lot of people who, at least in Microsoft, people stay longer. They stay for 16 years, 18 years, and they retire. And these all people, they kind of stayed at one role, software engineering, 2 senior software engineer. They didn't even go to principal and architect and whatnot. So they really liked the happiness quotient for them was really intact. They were really liking what they do, and as good for them, right? So just to keep it simplified, that's how I approach it.
I think, first of all, it's a very nice question. Thanks for asking. And I think he nailed it. I mean, it all depends, like what do you want to do in your life? For example, let's say, someone like maybe within short span of, time, you became manager and you've been working in the same team for years, you didn't. So you need to see at the in that particular aspect of the life. Maybe, like for example, let's say someone like is having kids, right? He might not be able to devote that much time to the product or whatever, like he want to have like balanced life, right? And same time the other person is like maybe, like fresh graduate and like he's so much hungry, right? And he got a lot of skill, like, and he managed to reach up to that position. So that is good, right? So way I see, like maybe I will take it as a motivation, like what he did, like maybe we'll talk to him and like use as a motivation. And other thing, like maybe if you're like happy and maybe you have like bigger picture in your mind, maybe you are working on something, so maybe you're not like maybe eyeing on like that managerial position. Maybe you have like some sort of your startup idea and you're content with whatever is going on and you're looking at the bigger picture. So it all depends on context. So yeah.
This is a very genuine question. And since you guys are more experienced than me, can your work friends be friends?
I have a lot of work friends who are my personal friends, but then I also know to distinguish. There are some work friends over the years I've realized I never want that person on my team. That person's really sharp and is part of my personal board of directors, as I like to call it, who pushes me to do better as well. But if the situation arises, I know for sure that person would be a shark and cut me anytime. So like I don't want that person on my immediate team, like there are those distinctions you need to be smart enough to make. And it's about like oversharing sometimes. I have my management as part of my Instagram friends, and I know there is a whole lot of mixed thing about how much of your personal life should you share with your work people. But with me, it's like you see what you get. So sorry. And, for me, it's like work-life integration more than work-life balance. So in middle of the day, I know I want to like take time off here and there to focus on my women in tech related stuff, and I'm going to post about it and they are going to see it. So does that mean they're going to judge me for like, not working 9 to 5 and taking time off to do my personal stuff? That's okay. But yeah.
I think it all depends on trust factor, how much you trust other. Like, I don't see any harm, like, okay, your work friend can be your friends. I mean, it all depends how much you trust them. If they are really trustworthy, why not? So, yeah.
I think at the workplace, the only thing, yeah, I personally, for myself, I just keep work and personal life different. And I usually don't connect with people who are at the workplace on Instagram or something like that. Um, why is that? Because you don't come to a place where you have a conflict of interest, where you're working together, you know each other's strengths and weakness, and then you come to a level where the decision is made towards in your favor, and then he's no more your friend, and then it's a bitterness in the workplace, and a lot comes to it. It's again so keeping it more professional. I have my few of my very good friends came from the workplace where I worked so far. And after you moved out of that workplace, of course, they can be your friends. Said you don't need to keep that barrier there. But at current workplace, yeah, we go out, we go on a parties during the office, whatever you hosted at the office level. But after office, yeah, I have my personal life. I I keep it a little isolated with the office space. So in a sense of whenever I do something in personal life, that shouldn't be, I'm thinking in how they will think, because I work with them all the time and they are kind of having an eyes over what I do, because I shared and I created the rapport a little early, which is difficult to go back with.
Yeah. Those were some really great questions. So I guess, yeah, if you guys have more questions, we could definitely cover it after a small break. Just before we take a small break, like on this rainy day, the alumni panelists were like an umbrella to us. They got us covered with both data storms and success stories. I would really thank you guys to make some time, come over here, shower information, both metaphorically and methodologically. But, geez, Tanmay, who's writing this? Who's writing this? I mean, Swadesh board hiring a script writer, apply now. So yeah, moving on. We all know the power of being appreciated, and it always feels good to get appreciated of the effort. On that note, we have a small token of appreciation from all of you guys. It's directly from the heart of Swadesh. So I would like to call our president, Mr. Tanmay Singla, on the stage to present the mementos. We would begin with Surendra. Can you get his memento, please? Next we have is Mona Lisa. The next in line we have Apeksha. Next memento is for Thomas. Last but not least, Jaskar. And of course, how can we forget the man who started the program, Sahil? A memento for him, please, as well. So it's before signing off and jumping onto the great food back out there. My name is Dhiren. I was your fearless captain on this alumni wisdom voyage. Also, I would like to mention all my sailors on this ship, members from the board, Suyash, Vedant, Nidhi, Tanmay, Meet, Anubhav. A round of applause for the entire Swadesh board team to organize this on this really bad weather day. And also to all our alumni panelists, my name is Dhiren, graduating in 24, actively looking for software jobs. Please help me. Thank you.
Please send a personalized
Thanks again. Thank you, everyone, especially the board, organizing this event, and all the students who came. I know it's been challenging with the weather, but you guys made it, so it's really good. Yeah. And again, I want to say, anytime you want to connect, not just from the job prospect, anything you want to discuss life in general, so please reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to talk. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, and +1 to everything Surinder said. The minute he told me about it, I was like, I'm in, just because it's Santa Clara. It's a university really close to my heart. And thank you, Tanmay, there, and everybody for having us here. It's so that's one thing about Santa Clara that you'll learn as well, and I hope you do the same once you are on the other side. Continue to do as much as you can once you graduate, because your experiences, your stories are going to help the next generation as well. All the learnings that you have, if you can share it in any way to make life easier for others, please do that.
Yeah, something on the note. Tanmay, again, the great host there and here. They didn't really have to do this. Of course, they could have set up a Zoom call. Everybody could have joined a Zoom call, but they did this. Of course, the rain kind of came as a variable element. But thanks for what you do. You pay it forward. Of course, we came here to pay it forward. That's what creates an impact and help. And of course, a lot of you who are here may come later in a couple of years to do the same. So again, thanks for what you do. And yeah, you guys are amazing.
Check, check, check. Perfect. First of all, Tanmay, this is super cute. And thank you so much, Sadesh. Definitely, I'm glad if I could be of any help to you today and sharing my stories. And yes, going ahead as well, feel free to connect. And if you want to know something more about consulting, if you want to know something about data science, happy to talk. If you want to talk more about immigration, happy to talk. I've done a PhD on it. But yeah, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn. And looking forward to connect to you all. Cheers.
Thank you, Sudesh, both. Such a wonderful experience, and thanks for the token. Just for everybody, just feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn.